You're listening to Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official podcast of Lingerie Fighting Championships. And now, here's your host, Michael Larkin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships podcast. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me once more on this fine podcast today is the one, the only Freedom, a.k.a. the one, the only Miss Shelby Dahl. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. First and foremost, it's always a pleasure and a privilege to have you on the show. Always such positive vibes and great vibrancy. And you, my friend, speaking of vibrancy, let's hop right into this, Miss Shelby Dahl. You just did your thing, Playboy Playmate of the Year. Let's talk about it because, my God, the photos came out great. You're looking amazing as always. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it was quite exciting to get chosen. So, I mean, the Playboy brand has multiple editions worldwide. It's got USA, Canada, South Africa, Denmark, Sweden, Australia. Not all the editions do Playmate of the Year. There's a small handful. So there's only about like 3 or 4 girls chosen a year by the Playboy brand to be a Playmate of the Year in certain countries. And I was one of those models selected this year. And so it's kind of exciting because it puts you into, we'll say, Playboy royalty to a degree, and you can't really go any further with the Playboy brand as far as a model than to be a Playmate of the Year. So I was pretty excited to get that after working with them for, so many years in one way or another through doing the covers that I've done with my entertainment career. And so it's pretty neat. I still can't really digest it.
I look at it from a stance like this. I think when it comes to the beautiful imagery that we see in everyday life from the internal and external beauty side of things, you certainly rock it. And I mean, I look at it from a stance like this. If you can rock it like you did in that photo that I saw on you on top of a Bronco, for God's sake, I mean, hey, there's so many different ways. There's so many different lightings and everything that goes into what makes a photo elegant and as well great and beautiful. So I think the great aesthetic and the rightness really goes a long way with it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I know the creative team and like the photographer and the makeup artist they're really great. Not only artists, but people in general. And so what was most exciting about doing the Playmate of the Year shoot was that the team as a whole was just a really great, positive sort of jive and group of people to work with. And you don't always get that in the entertainment industry. I mean, it's like anything else. Sometimes it's a toss-up. But I got to do this particular shoot in a way that was very memorable with people I really enjoy to work with. So that made it part of, we'll say, the lifelong memory and experience.
Well, I look at it like this as far as your experience within your career. I mean, you've had so many great moments and memories created and moments and memories yet to be created. I look at it like this, Miss Shelby Dahl. I mean, from what you did with your music, with the song Wendy, and what you're doing now, I mean, it's great to see the collaborative effort of everybody. We talk about the creative juices flowing. So you're diving into many different avenues, from photo shoots, from music, and especially now within your record store that we'll get into. So you're still incorporating that multifaceted creative juices, everything letting it flowing, so to speak.
Yeah, that doesn't really change. And I'm still, like I talked about in the last episode that we did together, I'm still really much so simplifying my life. So people look at what I'm doing right now and they think that this is, busy, or especially people that didn't follow me before. I took about a 1.5 year hiatus due to my health before I came back to do that final tour. I did the final tour mostly in part due to demand by fans and venues that wanted to have me back one more time before I called it quits. And then we did our podcast episode, I believe, shortly after that tour kind of concluded, and I had released Wendy, and I, talked about slowing down my life and going kind of on my journey for peace and to have freedom in my life in a different way. And I'm still doing that. So, I'm not going, we'll say, full back into entertainment. I'm trying to find a harmony between being a creative and doing things, kind of pick and choosing what I want to do. And I don't say that to sound, artists that are trying to emerge or trying to grow a brand might hear that and think it sounds arrogant. But entertainment for me, I accomplished all of the personal goals I ever had with it. I could die tomorrow and say that I did everything I wanted to do. And so now I'm just sort of, doing the music thing because I enjoy it with people I enjoy doing it with, and seeing how far that goes. So far, it's being received really well, and I'm running my record shop. So, life is still slowing down despite the Playmate of the Year excitement. And despite the release of new music, this is actually quite chill for me.
I can respect that. I mean, with everything that you got going on, everybody wants to find that freedom into everything and feel liberated. So, I mean, finding your peace, finding your harmony, and finding an else balance in between really goes a long way with anything in this thing that we call life. So I think you not only have that down pat, but I look at it from a stance too as well. It inspires through words and actions what a lot of people want to really encompass in their own lives.
Yeah, well, I think you when you're a kid, you dream about certain things, and some people go for those dreams, and some people let other people or other situations hold them back from those dreams. And I just didn't do that. I don't think we have to choose to do one thing in our life, and I don't think we necessarily need to follow the pattern other people feel we should. So I am still, we'll say, breaking rules in my own way, the way I always have, and creating my own path to life. And we'll say it's not the easy way. I think people think that it sounds easier than it is. I'll word it that way. Along this journey, we'll say, through entertainment, through music, through stepping out of full-time entertainment, through doing the record shop, through the divorce, through flipping my entire life upside down, I lost a lot of people, because I wasn't going to live my life for other people and what other people want. And I think that's the part of, we'll say, these journeys that gets forgotten. There are losses. And it's not easy to do, because you have to put yourself first, and you have to learn to prioritize what is most important. And that's not always easy. People want a certain thing from you. In entertainment, you have the pressure of fans. And I talked about that in another podcast a couple weeks ago, about the pressure in entertainment and what that feels like, because people forget you're human.
Well, that's the thing too. We hear it all the time about the pressures and demands, and at the end of the day, like you mentioned, we are human beings. But I think with everything, when we talk about being the representation of your presentation, I think in general, man, people need to realize not only are you human beings, but at the end of the day, we're not machines. We constantly go on and upward and onward. But there's many different trajectories, man, and that leads us to who we are and who our overall spirit is.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? You only live once, and I know people use it all the time, but it's the truth. We're here one time, start to finish. And it's important to love people, and it's important to help people, and it's important maybe to be rooted in your community and to support the people who support you. But it most certainly, to me, is not important to listen to the nonsense that people, want to push on you, because they feel there's only one way to approach this life, and that's their way. And in reality, there is no certain path that we all need to take, no matter what social structures or institutions or anybody else has to say about that. You have to be a good human, and you have to be nice to people, and you've got to be honest, and you've got to rock and roll. But you most certainly don't need to do it the same way as the person next to you.
Damn straight. I like your style. And I mean, I look at it like this. I think with everything that you're rocking and rolling, so to speak, I mean, look at your record store, for God's sake. I look at it like this. If you're not following this one over here on social media, you're just living it up, doing your thing in your record shop. I mean, you're dancing, you're doing your stuff. You have a lot of great vids that you put on for the social media from the record shop. Like, again, I love it. Just the freeness of just dancing, enjoying your time there. It really does create such a great vibe for everybody to take in.
Yeah, well, here at the record store, it's such a great community of music lovers and musicians here in the Campbellton area. I'm in a remote area. I said that on the last time we talked. I'm in the middle of nowhere here in Campbellton, and I think I have definitely gotten some inquiries from media people, and also from fans or from longtime followers wondering why the hell I chose Campbellton to sort of settle in some capacity. And the reason I chose Campbellton is because it is peaceful here. I chose it for the reason that people here leave here. The young kids, they can't wait to get out. I couldn't wait to come in. It's peaceful here. It's beautiful here. The community here is wonderful. And they're supportive of what we're doing here at the shop. And the shop is doing well because of it. And then the community, the Hard Luck Army, the record club and stuff that we have here expands past Campbellton. So we have shoppers and supporters and members of our Hard Luck Army here at the record shop from all over North America. So it doesn't just start and end in Campbellton, the Hard Luck store.
I think that's great. The expenditures there. And I mean, I look at it like this: who doesn't love some great records from all different facets of life within music? Because music in its own right, like we always mention, is an art form. And I mean, I look at the kids nowadays, like you mentioned, like people like yourself come in to find the peace. And that's why a lot of people want to get out. I mean, you find your own happiness. And what I dig about that too, as well, is again, the community, much like we've seen in many different facets of life, that's what makes it, man. And that's what brings everybody together. It's a united, not divided front,
Well, that's absolutely it, and that just comes with that being a good human thing. I think when you really do honestly try, and nobody's perfect. I mean, I've screwed up along the way. I've hurt people. I've messed up. I've made mistakes I'll regret for the rest of my life, in the sense that I don't regret the journey I took, but I regret maybe how it might have impacted other people. Because that's all part of being human, and that's all part of finding your way. But I think once you start to learn the lessons that the universe and the world is trying to teach you, you really start to grow. But that's a choice that people have to make. And here at the record store, I find it's a different kind of peace for me. I sit here and I got all the fellas come in with their coffees and we all chat. I mean, it's music from the time I wake up till the time I close the store. And it's a different way to enjoy entertainment and enjoy that social connection with people, because it's all surrounding the thing I love the most, which is entertainment and music. And, that's been a big part of my life. And so we spend the day, talking about stories, talking about records, talking about artists, talking about songs, writing songs, listening to them tune their guitars, listening to the kids play guitar horrible, listening to the kids play guitar wonderfully. And, it's a really great space for just happiness. There's no disputes that occur in a major way here. Whenever music is the center of something and it's left to be free without any pressure like it is here, I think it creates a space that is unmatched for peace.
Whew, I gotta say, right here in the heartstrings, I felt that, man. But I mean, I look at it like this: that's what brings everybody together. And I love the fact that music, like with anything, is such a variety, and it's also just, there I say, the spice of life, if you will. And we talk about bringing people together with the Hard Luck Army, which, by the way, I love the name, the Hard Luck Army. Let's put that into the forefront, because that is a great little title and community for what you have. But also number two as well, man. It's what you're doing right now, and like you've talked about, you screwed up, you're not perfect, but at the end of the day, too, what I admire about you, Miss Shelby Doll, is like you take everything that you've learned, the pearls of wisdom, if you will, you keep going. You've been on the journey. You've had so many trajectories, like we all do in life, but you've found your inner peace and your process and your progress. And for that, I truly admire you.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. I don't think there's been a day in my life I haven't worked really hard to try. I can honestly say that. I'm not good at a lot of things, but the things I am good at, it's because I made an active effort to try my best. And being a good person is one of those things I certainly try my best to do.
Well, I've always said a combination of comfortability goes a long way, and you've always been professional with me and so many great people that have been put in your path and put in your life. So we thank you for that, ma'am. And I mean, I look at it like this for you. What can we expect as well going forward? Like we talked about the record store and just so many varieties. Like you guys have even had like events. We talk about like guitars playing. We talk about everybody getting together. Like you provide a great variety in there, man. There's karaoke. There's everything. You have such a wide array that goes within your record shop.
Yeah, well, like here, we're not just a store. I started this store and this shop because I truly wanted to see music exist and continue to exist in a live way. Live music, the art of musicians actually playing, the art of somebody sitting and actually writing a song instead of like trying to chat GP or whatever they call it, lyrics or whatever, it's like, that's the humanity behind music is what makes it so special. And the more I feel, the more technology slowly rips that away. Whereas, we're starting to lose a piece of, I guess, like our existence that we shouldn't lose. Music and dance has been a part of, you'll say, the human experience for as long as we could walk and talk and just clang rocks together. So to see it go to a point where people aren't even actually physically writing a song from the heart, they're writing love song on Chat GP and then just producing that. It's, to me, that part of the forwarding of music is sad. And that's my personal opinion. And I'm excited to create a space where the old school way of approaching the arts is being embraced and supported and forwarded. So at our jam nights, I find it's a really good mix of young new artists in high school working with artists that have been playing, for 20, 30, sometimes 40 years in here, excited to watch the kids playing guitar because less and less kids are picking up a guitar. And so as far as like the variety of things that we do, we have those things that are occurring this summer. I'm planning like workshop events that will be free for musicians to attend, to just give them an opportunity to come and network and practice and learn. And then we do, of course, we have the retail front. So we have all the records and CDs and all of the physical music instead of just streaming, which supports artists and the forwarding of physical music sales, which I think is also great. Because there's something about holding music, holding an album, smelling it, flipping it, pulling out the vinyl, putting it on a player, that I think is unmatched when you start digitally streaming. And the sound is also different. So the way in which you experience the music is different. But we have a lot of stuff going on all of the time here, all different kinds of things.
It kind of reminds me growing up. It's like when you go to the CD store and you have the sample where you put the headphones in to see if you want to buy that CD. There's nothing like having a record or a CD or anything. And I mean, like you mentioned, the Chat GT, and there's AI and there's auto tune and so many things out there. We've kind of lost the overall essence, like you mentioned earlier, of what we get to see, like putting the heart and soul into your music, having some meaning into it, because that's what you need really in anything. You're telling a story. You are the storyteller, and you're telling your doggone story through your music and through your words. And that is one of the main reasons why you have to exist, to inspire.
Well, exactly. And like for me, I kind of laugh today because when I'm in the record store, I'll dress all kinds of different ways because I don't really have a set style. But, sometimes I'm a little country. Sometimes I'm a little rock and roll. Sometimes I'm a little Playboy bunny-ish. I don't really have, I guess, a set presentation for myself. It's whatever I feel like. But I laughed today because I walked out. Of course, I was doing this with you, and I had a podcast before you. I have another podcast after you. So I dressed nice, wore a nice blouse and present myself well. And anyway, I walked out, and one of the old fellas that comes here all the time, he's like, "Oh, you're all country now." I'm like, "Because you've only ever seen me when I'm dressed in like, I think the last podcast that we did, I know because I'm over. I think the last podcast that we did, I was dressed in like a cut Dickie shirt.
Yes.
Like I just wear what I want to wear. So I thought that was funny. Like, that always amuses me when people feel that, like, they have an image they have of you, and that's the image they feel you should only have, and I find it funny.
No, you've always had the, first of all, let's put over the fashion aesthetic here, because you do look great. You look nice. You look very elegant and just cool with it. I truly appreciate you for that front. But I look at it like this, man. Oh, you're very welcome. I look at it like this. You always show up and show out, and I appreciate the style and aesthetic. It goes with everything. We all like to wear what we wear and feel free, feel liberated. Got to get creative with it.
Well, yeah, it's like, you don't have to have a certain way in which you look all the time. I just don't believe in that at all. Sometimes I dress nice, but I also wear so many different hats, like, it just, when I want to dress nice, usually I do tend to lean towards that Western style that I grew up in the middle of nowhere. So if people think I'm not country just because I'm a Playboy model, they're insane. I grew up hunting, fishing, four-wheeling, and I used to, with my ex-partner, have a 300-acre off-grid farm in which I worked myself. So people look at me, and I think they think, especially people that are new meeting me in this area, they hear that I, used to do the agency work in Vegas. They hear that I used to tour. They hear that I'm a Playboy model. And then I think they have this idea in their head that, first of all, I am from Las Vegas. No, I'm not. And second of all, that I'm like this high maintenance city person. No, not in any capacity is that me at all. In fact, like, when I do fly into Vegas, I'm like, I can't wait to leave 24 hours later. And when I'm there, my favorite thing to do when I am there at the office and working with entertainers or working with models or whatever it is that I am doing, when I am in Vegas performing whatever, I will leave during the day and I will drive out to, like, the state parks or whatever, or just get out of there. And it's funny because when we did the FHM Top 100 event, the guitarist, wonderful person, one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, Jock, I got him in the morning. I said, get in the car, let's go. Because he was overwhelmed with the city. A lot of people are, if they're not, like, used to that hustle bustle of Vegas. And I was like, get in the car, let's go. I made him get in, and we took a drive out and went and saw, the wild donkeys out there by the old mine town, and just kind of got out of Vegas. So I think it's interesting, I guess, the idea people have of you based on what it is that they know of that you have done, I guess, is what I'm getting at. It's really interesting how people see you versus how you see yourself.
Oh, of course. I mean, I look at it like this. I mean, it can be very congested there, as someone as well who's been in Vegas for the LFC events, or like you with the FHM bootleg. It is what it is. And I mean, I look at it from a stance like this. I mean, doing that, just going to different parks and feeling comfortable and get your style there, I think that's a great aesthetic as well, like we mentioned, but also at the same time too, like, I could even tell you, and I'll say this right now, it's not like you mentioned, you're not from Las Vegas. You're not like the whole, like, high maintenance, like, no green M&Ms for me. Just take the green M&Ms out. No, it's not like that. And I mean, that's the thing. People are always with the misconception of, if you do anything that's in the entertainment business, whether it be adult work, modeling work, what have you, music even, there's a sense where they, like, question the intelligence, number one, or number two, they just look at you when you're a certain way. And it's like, no, sir, no, ma'am. I actually can have a proper conversation with you. We can interact. We can do it up. I actually know what the hell's going on. I'm highly intelligent. Number two, I can kick ass and take names at the same time. So there's such a variety with the interviewing,
Well, it does make me laugh. Like, things, I guess, I don't know, Freedom, Shelby doll, fun fact moments, like, there are a lot of people have no clue I'm a licensed hunting guide. Like, not only do I go hunting, but I'm a licensed guide. So I have brought groups of military men out and shown them where to find game. So I always laugh because people will talk to me about stuff and they're like, well, you do know there are bears here when you go walk down by the river, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. Yes. I'm a licensed guide in New Brunswick. So I do know about the bears, like, they're not going to jump out and eat me, but it's funny because they haven't, like I said, they have this idea. And I don't laugh like laughing at them. They don't know that about me. So they're giving me that advice, but it makes me laugh that people look at you and get an idea in their head. And even when you look at them and go, yeah, I'm a licensed hunting guide, they literally don't believe you. They don't believe the things you have done for whatever reason. And that part, it does get frustrating, but I've learned I have nothing to prove to anybody. You know, like, yes, I am a PhD candidate. So yes, that means that, you know, when it comes to academics, not everything in life, but academics, I'm good at it. You know, yes, I am a hunting guide. So I do know about that. Yes, I like to fish. So I know how to bait a hook and go catch a trout and walk the brook, you know, and yes, I did have a farm. So I know how to ride a horse. I know how to till a garden. I know how to drive a tractor, and I can make you some goddamn maple syrup. So, you know, but I think they look at my age and they have an idea, but they forget that if you want to, you can do a lot of living really fast. And when you're a person that wants to do things on your own, so instead of hiring people to do things, I would often take the initiative to try to figure it out myself because I want to know the skill. I don't want to pay somebody to fix my deck. I want to learn how to do it myself. I don't want to pay somebody, you know, to roof my chicken hut and put the shingles on the big fancy chicken, you know, mansion that we built the chickens. I want to do that myself. And through those experiences of touring, so traveling and meeting people and learning skills and learning about, you know, all that stuff. And then through having the farm and then running the businesses that I ran and being in school, I gained a lot of a very eclectic palette of skills on a high level very quickly, which was a choice I made. I chose to educate myself and to learn life skills because I want to be able to be as independent as possible. I also, in a relationship or partnership, want to be able to contribute appropriately in the best way possible. And so I look at all of those life skills that are kind of being lost as being absolutely pertinent because they're your way to, we'll call it freedom and independence in this world. You know, when your sink is clogged and you don't need to call the plumber, do you know how much money you save?
Right. You have to look at it on so many levels, and I think the best way, and I've described you like this, and I'll reiterate my point. It's like nerdiness mixed with like precocious and full of wonderment is what it is, because you're so damn intelligent, but also at the same time too, you want to continue to learn, adapt, and grow and evolve. And you're just so full of wonderment. You ask questions, you ask the right questions, and that goes a long way in life and how you build a foundation in a relationship and friendship. So you're taking everything that you've learned, you're taking every pearl's wisdom, you're taking everything from your surroundings, and dare I say, the pun intended on the freedom thing, create your own freedom and just let loose and then just let it ride. Like George Michael once saying, freedom, I will let you down. You're not letting anybody down.
Well, that's kind of it. Yeah, I don't want to let myself down, really. I mean, when you grow up the way I grew up, and I kind of touched on it last time, but, you know, life wasn't easy. It's still not easy for a lot of my family, and my family has a long history of generational trauma and trouble and problems and suicide and issues and drugs and everything, psychiatric issues, everything under the sun. So on a very high level. So it wasn't easy always growing up. And so you learn to be independent. You know, when you don't have money, it's amazing how many skills I learned. So I don't look at the way I grow up. I did for a short time when I was a teen. I was like, man, this sucks. Like, you know, all these other kids have this or have that. And I'm watching my best friend who I love dearly, and she had this great family and great support. And was I envious of that? Absolutely. They were, I mean, not that my family didn't support and try or, you know, but they had something that no matter, you know, how hard my parents tried or I tried, whatever, we just couldn't seem to get the shit together. You know, it never came together for really anybody. And I watched that, and you just want that so badly. But then I stopped wanting it so badly. I started to look at the way I grew up as an asset. I learned a lot of things really quickly. I can I can cook, I can make bread from scratch, I can clean, I can, I can love, because I didn't just get it. I had to learn the value of love. And so I don't just expect it. I work for it. And I appreciate it. And I learned how to change oil, how to change a tire, how to hammer and nails and saw this and fix that and do this and, landscape and roof and, and, when you grow up, we'll say that hillbilly back broke way of living, it creates a certain kind of person that is disappearing. So I always, kind of get amusement out of other people my age that call me to do things. And I'm like, man, you seriously don't know how to do that. And and I don't say it to be rude, but it shocks me the amount of day-to-day life, what I consider day-to-day life skills people are starting to lack.
Right.
It's disappearing.
It is. And I think with everything, you know what it is too? I mean, we see with everything, our surroundings, what we all can kind of lack. I mean, we're so used to everything with technology taking over just in general. I think, like you mentioned, the old school way of just, again, learning, adapting, growing, but also at the same time too, we all need to just, just as people, it's one thing to open up the minds and expand the horizons, but at the same time too, there's tact. There's many different forms of discipline and many levels of everything to get us where we need to be,
Oh, for certain. And it's like, but with the flip side of that being said, when it comes to technology or things of that nature, I wasn't privileged enough to have those things as they came out as quickly. I was very behind. I still am quite a bit behind. So I end up reaching, to like my friend New, who's a scientist. I'll be like, New, help me, please. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to format this like this. I don't know where the button is. And I'll sit there and frig with it on my own because I'm a little bit stubborn. We all have our pros and cons. My stubbornness is sometimes my own failure, but I will try every avenue myself first. And then I'll make that call. And boy, is she on it, though, because she knows if I'm calling her for help, I've already tried for probably 2 days to figure it out myself. So, I mean, it's kind of a catch-22. You have to know about all of those things that, because the way I grew up, I didn't know until later on, and that did hurt me in some ways. But I learned to work, and I think that's kind of what I'm getting at is people kind of, they work means something different now than it did.
I think it's like the great Rihanna song, work, 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 work. And you know what I mean? I look at it from a stance too. Work and the grind never stops. And I mean, I got to say, not only do I consider you a great friend, I consider you a great person. I cannot wait to see where your record shop keeps going. Everything that you're doing right now, especially the music. If y'all have checked out Wendy, the Wendy remix, you are killing it. I can't wait to see what else you do on the music side of things. The world is your oyster, my dear friend. The world is your oyster.
Yeah, well, we're getting ready to release another single, and then we're putting together the mini EP. So that's going to be kind of cool because every song on it I wrote. It all means a significant amount to me. A portion of the royalties are going into account for my daughter's psychiatric care. Like I kind of touched on last time, my daughter struggles in a big way. And so I'm putting a lot of the proceeds to that, to helping her long-term in her life. But the album, every song on it is so meaningful to me. I'm very connected, we'll say, with my emotions and the way that I feel. And there's not a song that I've written for that isn't significantly like reflect a certain part of my life. So Wendy was about what it's like to love somebody that either can't love you back, won't love you back, or leaves you waiting because they live in a Neverland. So whether it be an entertainer that flies around in Neverland, or whether it be a person that doesn't know how to be real, right? That for whatever reason, trauma, whatever caused it. That's what Wendy's about. Loving somebody that can't love you back and leaves you sitting at a window like Wendy, waiting for Peter Pan all of the time. And I think everybody at some point in their life maybe has experienced something similar to that feeling. And then the new song, which is which is coming out. And I put a teaser on it for my Instagram, and it's gone sort of viral. It's got quite a few views on it now, and it keeps spiraling and spiraling. Is Lonesome Moonshine Tunes. So that one there is coming out. And that should be interesting. That one's about touring. So in my blurb that I put up on the Instagram, it talks about the touring experience in that pass between going from Texas to Vegas. And if you've ever driven that at night, especially during a dust storm, like I did several times, but that particular night, and then being a historian, and I was thinking about how I kind of sold my soul to the stage. You know, my only friends now were affiliations for work, and it wasn't serious friendships that were deeply meaningful. They were all very superficial and about networking or connections in both ways. And I had given up, we'll call it a real meaningful life, to be on stage and tour and tour and tour for 20, 30 weeks a year. And it felt empty and lonely. And when I drove that section, it really kind of hit home when that, you know, you're sitting there on a tour bus and you're just watching the dust go across the road and a tumbleweed. And when tumbleweeds going across the road become that exciting to you, you really realize what you have chosen to do with your life. Not that entertainment and touring, and I cannot thank my fans enough for what they gave me in my life. It was a wonderful experience. But when you do it to the capacity and the amount of weeks a year that I did it, it is much different than going out for like 4 to 6 weeks at a time and then flying home. And then tumbleweeds become really exciting.
No, I feel you. I mean, and I did see here the sample, by the way, and that will be in the description below this fine program, folks. But god dang it, man. I'm glad that we mentioned this because I loved it. I also, like I said, with each and every one of your songs, like you mentioned, there's a lot of meaning. But I can just imagine the long hours, the long days, the nights. And then I'll be honest with you, if I was in your position as well, I would love to see the tumbleweeds as well because I get it. There's so many different conditions and work hazards and everything. So, I mean, once you see the doggone tumbleweed just boom right through the way there, I get it. I totally understand.
I have a video. I won't, I keep it. I look back on it. I'm like, oh my God, especially when I was writing the song, because I went down on this last little tour trip, we'll call it. I went down through South Carolina and then I stopped in Mississippi and stopped and visited Jimmy Duck Holmes' place, the Blue Front Cafe. And I sat and I wrote the song sitting there. And I'm sitting there at the table and I'm watching, he's got the wood stove on and it's like 70 degrees out. And I live in Canada, so I'm sweating to death. And he's very older man, just an incredible icon in Delta blues music, and an incredible person. And what he's created at the Blue Front is an amazing place for artists and collaborators and musicians to really be real and feel inspired. And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching the community kind of come in and get their bag of chips or their pop and talk to Jimmy. And I just start thinking about touring. And then I get on my phone and I'm looking at pictures of the last time I was there with my daughter. And then I come across the video, and in the video, you can see the wipers from the tour bus, and then a tumbleweed blows across the road, and all you hear is me go, tumbleweed! And then it's like, tumbleweed again! And I had always wanted to see like a real tumbleweed blow across the road at some point in my life, because it's just like an iconic imagery, and I'm not from that area of the world, so to me, it's like the coolest thing ever. And I got like a tumbleweed overdose. But in that same token, the song's not necessarily about the tumbleweeds. It's about how you feel the only friends you have are ghosts, and that's what happens. You become lonesome.
I completely understand. I think a lot of people can take that evoking emotions and eliciting reaction from that. And I got to say, it does move me, much like many of the stuff that you do. And honestly, I can't wait to hear more music because it's so relatable. And I got to say right now, they always talk about chicken soup for the soul. That is some good cleansing for the soul and good chicken soup in its own right, man.
Tumbleweeds.
Tumbleweeds, baby. Tumbleweeds for the soul. There it is. Yes.
Yes. Now, like, I'm at the point, I'm finishing up this wave for doing the Playmate of the Year stuff, finishing up this music stuff, trying to get the EP out so that I can get that going. A lot of people are asking if I'm going to tour. I've gotten tons of inquiries from fans or followers or, other people. I've had tons of inquiries about my personal life, whatever the deal is or fascination is with that, as usual, but much worse lately. And so I guess I'm just working on continuing to protect that peace and freedom, but while also still getting these lyrics and getting these words and getting it out there for people to hear and consume and think about and enjoy. Whether or not I will tour the album or any of the music at all, I honestly couldn't tell you. I can tell you that the opportunity is certainly there. And there is definitely a demand for it and for me to be back on stage for certain. But I can't tell you that I will definitely make that decision or not. As usual, I won't know until I feel it. And if I don't feel like doing it, I ain't doing it.
I love your bluntness, and I just love your honesty. And number two, I also got to put this into the forefront here. Whatever you do, I'm going to say, I think a lot of us not only will continue to support you, but whatever you do, I'll be checking it out. I'll be supporting you as always. I really cannot wait to see whether you tour, whether you do your thing. I'm here for it, Shelby doll. I am here.
I know. If I do tour, I'll end up with dates down the East Coast, but I would definitely end up with Vegas date, sure, just based on people that are already inquiring. Like even venues that I performed at with my previous form of entertainment are like, I want you to come and do your songs, or like even some of the hotel casino places that I had done some of the more theater style shows at have reached out wondering if I'm going to do anything with it, just because they want to see that sort of energy now put into this, I guess, way of entertaining, and a lot of people are supporting it and think it could really do well. So I guess we'll see what life brings me. For now, I don't have anybody or anything holding me in one position other than that I just want to be here.
Well, I will say this, Miss Shelby, we are happy that you are here. And if you decide to go to those previous venues that you've done in your past entertainment, I know we'll all be here for it. And we'll definitely see your trajectory and your continued progression and succession within your life. And it's worth definitely checking out, worth the follow for this beautiful woman over here doing her thing. Shelby, I got to say, it's always a joy talking to you. You bring a lot of joy to my heart, and I'm sure to everyone's hearts. And I will say this, you're more than welcome back on anytime. I always enjoy speaking with you.
Yeah, that would be really great. I'm putting out a book this fall. It's sort of a memoir, kind of, but it just talks about, I guess, the way in which what I came from and where I've gotten to. I did that after kind of a lot of pressure to do it, but also because I chose to do it, and it took a lot of vulnerability to write it. I'm not going to lie; it was also very therapeutic. But that will come out this fall, so maybe that would be a good time to touch base.
I got you. Absolutely. Yeah. It's very cathartic to get all of that out from pen to paper to pen to pencil, what have you. So, I mean, I can't wait to read it. I'm sure it's going to be a roller coaster ride of emotions, and I'm here for it. I'm very interested in your story, and I think a lot of people will be as well. So before we close this out, where can we follow you on the social media fronts? Promote the record shop. Go for it, man. The floor is
My shameless marketing?
Yes.
Is that what I'm doing? Am I pulling a Gene Simmons right now?
Yeah.
Buy the album.
I love that so much. Oh my goodness.
It is the best. No, you can follow me on Instagram. Is a major channel for me at Official Freedom Music on Instagram, or I've got my Facebook page, which I just set up not too long ago because I never really was a Facebook person, but mostly to market the music. So that's at Official Freedom Music and then 88, which is my birth year, FYI, for those of you who have been trying to figure out my age for a decade. If you watch this episode, you'll know. Everybody try to figure out how old I am. And then you can go onto my website, which is officialfreedommusic.com, or just, follow Mike's podcast and watch our many journeys together.
The journeys are worth taking, and I still can't get over that Gene Simmons reference. I love that. That was great. That popped me. That got me right here. I love that. Okay. I can follow that, but I could bestly follow up with this, y'all. If y'all follow Shelby Dahl and her music, links will be in the description, as well as Hard Luck Woman Records over here doing her thing. And shout out to the Hard Luck Army. My God, I love each and every one of y'all and what y'all doing, because it's a great damn good time. And I'll be saying this right now. If I'm ever on your way, I will definitely come to your record shop. I'd love to see you in person. Check it out.
You've got to come to the record shop and meet the Army, because I'll tell you what, we got the best damn record club on the planet here at Hard Luck Woman Records. No doubt about it.
It's a damn good time, and I definitely take you up on that. If you want to follow LFC, it's lfcfights.com and the podcast, as well as on lfcfights.com, the VIP section. And check out Miss Shelby Dahl over here being a badass judge at LFC 37 Back to the Mansion. And check out the FHM 100 bootleg and her many performances with men like Rick Reese and a great overall band. She is a hell of an entertainer and just a hell of a human being. All the links will be in the description for both myself and Shelby, respectfully. Do you have any final words to your fans and to the people, Miss Dahl?
Well, without my fans, I wouldn't have had a career at all. So I always thank them 110% for all the support and love they ever gave me, and everybody else that ever forwarded my career.
Beautifully, eloquently said, in humbleness at its finest. As always, folks, the show, much like the title, much like my mindset, beauty, strength, and dominance are three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And freedom, Miss Shelby Dahl, includes you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for that.